You know, sometimes I lie awake at night thinking about the truly big questions in life.
Like the meaning of existence, the origin of the universe.
Nah, like whether my goldfish actually remembers me or just thinks I'm a vending machine.
I'm going to guess it's the latter.
Cheers, mate. Appreciate the support.
Honestly, if he's anything like you, he probably does think food falls from the sky for no reason.
I mean, he's not wrong.
Anyway, speaking of things people think they know, have you noticed how many ridiculous science facts people still repeat like gospel?
Oh yeah, humanity invented the internet, access to every piece of information ever, and still prefers random stuff Karen posted on Facebook.
Today we're clearing up 5 of the most stubborn science myths still floating around. And yes, one of them involves your goldfish.
Finally. Justice for Gary. Let's start with that one then. I've heard all my life that goldfish have, a 3-second memory? That's shorter than my attention span on a Monday morning.
Which, judging by this conversation, might actually be shorter than yours. But no, that myth is complete rubbish. Goldfish actually have a memory span of months. Scientists have trained them to recognize shapes, colors, even press levers for food.
Wait, so Gary could learn tricks?
If Gary's anything like you, I'd keep expectations low. But yes,
I've been apologising to him every 3 seconds for years. Turns out he remembers all of it.
He probably has a little fish diary. Day 241. The idiot still thinks I'm dumb.
Imagine him talking to his fish mates. Oh, your human feeds you once a day. Mine apologises constantly for existing.
It's actually quite funny. Scientists tested goldfish memory by teaching them to swim through tiny mazes, and they remembered the route weeks later.
That's more impressive than me remembering my Netflix password. Okay, next one. The whole left brain is logical, right brain is creative thing. I remember hearing that in school.
And like most things you learnt in school, it's oversimplified nonsense.
So I don't have a creative hemisphere and a logical hemisphere.
No. Your brain works as a team. Sure, language processing tends to lean left, spatial reasoning right, but both hemispheres are active pretty much all the time.
That explains why I can write poetry about pizza and eat an entire one without sharing.
You're truly a whole brain disaster.
So that quiz I took online, are you left-brained or right-brained, was just clickbait.
Of course. The only accurate result from those quizzes is you wasted 10 minutes.
I once did a quiz that said I was 90% dolphin.
And you believed it, didn't you?
I started drinking more water, just in case. Alright, here's another one. Humans have 5 senses: touch, taste, smell, sight, hearing. That's Science 101, right?
Science 101 from centuries ago, maybe. In reality, humans have more than 20 recognized senses.
20? That's like 15 more than I'm currently using.
You've got proprioception, knowing where your limbs are without looking, thermoception, sensing temperature, equilibrioception, balance, nociception, pain.
So when I trip over nothing and face plant into the carpet, that's proprioception failing.
And when you scream about it for 20 minutes, that's nociception.
And when I still try to do it again immediately after,
that's called stupidity. Not technically a sense, but you've mastered it.
You know, this makes me feel kind of impressive. Like, every time I drink hot coffee and regret it, I'm experiencing multiple senses at once.
Yes, you're a living sensory experiment with severe decision-making issues.
Oh, I've got one. You can see the Great Wall of China from space. They told us that in school too.
And once again, school lied. The wall's too narrow and blends in with the landscape. Astronauts in low Earth orbit can't see it with the naked eye.
So all those astronaut posters were lying to me.
Completely. They can see things like cities, roads, even airports, anything that reflects light well. But the wall? Practically invisible.
That's hilarious. We spent centuries building this enormous monument, and then space said, nah, don't see it.
Fun fact, astronauts have said they wanted to see it, but when they looked out, it was just brown ground.
Same thing I see when I open my fridge.
That's because you never buy vegetables.
It's poetic though. Humanity's greatest wall, invisible. Like my motivation on a Monday. Alright, last one. I've always heard that alcohol kills brain cells, which would explain a lot about my 20s.
That's a classic myth. Moderate alcohol doesn't kill neurons, it just disrupts how they talk to each other.
So they're not dead, they're just hungover.
Exactly. Heavy chronic drinking can damage brain tissue and slow communication, but the cells themselves aren't dying off every time you have a pint.
That's comforting. My neurons are basically on a permanent lad's holiday.
And judging by how you behave after 2 beers, they're in Ibiza.
Makes sense. My memory the morning after definitely feels like it took a budget flight.
Maybe they're avoiding you. Oh no, Chip's drinking again. Scatter.
I once woke up with a traffic cone.
That's not neuroscience, that's a cry for help.
You know, I feel smarter and dumber at the same time.
Mission accomplished. That's basically our brand.
It's mad though. People have believed this stuff for decades, centuries even, and a 5-minute search could solve it.
People believe detox teas make them immortal. Facts don't stand a chance.
True. But hey, at least Gary the Goldfish knows I care.
He remembers everything, Chip. Even that time you tried to feed him crisps.
That was an experiment.
And it failed.
Alright, that's a wrap. If you learned something today, or at least laughed once, hit subscribe before my neurons go on another holiday.
And tune in next time. We're nowhere near done ruining myths or your faith in humanity.